Hey everybody, it's Vinnie, your South Florida Realtor. Welcome to Living in South Florida. As I mentioned in my intro, today's video is all about the 13 mistakes that you really want to avoid in this market, especially post NAR settlement with the changes to costs, commissions, and all of that. So let's dive right in. We're gonna start with number 13, which is waiting too long to write your offer. I wanted to let you know that, competitive markets is still a thing, and being prepared and trusting me is going to be imperative for you to be successful in this market. Now, in a fast-moving market like Palm Beach County, waiting too long to make an offer can be missing out on the opportunity to buy your dream home, and you don't want to do that. I can't tell you how many clients I go to see a home with, and it's been on the market for 50, 60, or 75 days, but as soon as we focus our energy in on it, then somebody else does as well. I go to call the agent to let them know I'm going to go and prepare an offer to submit, and they let me know, hey, the seller just accepted one this morning. It's crazy. So you definitely don't want to wait too long. Take time to think on it. I'm going to teach you how to categorize or to score things and rate them on a 1 to 10 scale. Once we start hitting 8, 9s, and 10s, you want to write the offer without any delay. All right. Now, being prepared has to do with having all of your finances in order, having your approval letter set, and being ready to pull the trigger as soon as you find the right home for you and for your family. And then, of course, trusting me, I'm going to earn your trust along the way and let you know everything that I do is in your best interest. I'm never going to do something that is self-serving for myself. I want you to be a client and a friend for life. If you weren't a friend before you did business with me, then I definitely want you to be a lifelong friend afterwards. I don't just turn and burn my clients. I want to build a tribe. I'm building a group of friends who know me, like me, and trust me. And through the process, I'll also do business with you again. I'll do business with your family members. I'll do business with your friends, your coworkers, and other people that you can refer me to because you had such a great experience with me. All right. Moving on to number 12. Making emotional decisions is a huge problem for a buyer. Now, I understand buying your first home is a huge decision. It's a big step to take, and you want to be very, very cautious, and you want to do it from a perspective that it's a business transaction. Even though it's an emotional decision, you have to kind of pull those emotions out of it, right? So you have to stay objective, you have to stick to your budget, and you have to factor in lifestyle needs into buying your home, making sure that the property that you choose is one that's going to fit your family's needs. Now, it's easy to fall in love with a home, but don't let emotions cloud your judgment when it comes time to making the offer, making the final decision. You have to avoid bidding wars that'll push you beyond your financial comfort zone, and you have to set a maximum price, and you have to stick to that, so that way you don't become what we call house poor. Now, factoring in the lifestyle has to do with you considering whether or not the home fits your long-term lifestyle needs rather than just its aesthetics or your short-term needs. So long-term needs may be that, hey, you're looking to buy this property as a stepping stone and also as your first investment. What I always recommend to my clients is that you buy a home, you live in it for 2 years. After those 2 years come up, if you're in an FHA financed, then you're going to finance out of that into a conventional loan, something that is an 80-20, so you don't have any mortgage insurance, and you're going to use that property as an investment. People don't know this, but up to 10 months worth of a rental price can be counted towards your buying power on your next home. I'll tell you more about that later. So making a decision as to whether or not a house will fit your needs for now and your vision for how you're going to build up your family wealth for later is going to be a critical part of it. Okay, moving on to number 11. Now, not preparing or not considering long-term maintenance costs can be a huge issue. All right, Florida's climate, a huge issue. Florida's climate and impact, older homes needing more care, and then planning for regular updates all can be factors when you're talking about, considering long-term maintenance costs. Florida's heat, humidity, storms, they can wear down a home faster. So you'll need to be able to budget in for roof repairs or HVAC repairs, upkeep, and more. Older homes, if you're buying an older property, then you have to be aware of the maintenance costs, and those may be higher, and you may have other issues to deal with along the way as well. And you have to plan for regular repairs and updates. Even newer homes are going to require some regular maintenance, especially in the South Florida's harsh climate. I mean, we have hurricanes, tornadoes, and other problems that come in, but just taking care of the maintenance on the day-to-day issues is going to be a factor as well. So you have to take that into consideration. Moving on to number 10, overestimating your future value appreciation. Now, market volatility is something you're going to have to be concerned with. Personalized investment, and then of course renovation return on investment are the three factors that we're going to look at here. While Palm Beach County is a strong market, real estate is always subject to changes. So don't buy solely on based on the potential appreciation value of the home that you're purchasing, right? Personalized investments, you have to consider your long-term plans, as I mentioned before, and whether or not this home makes sense for you and for your lifestyle and for your future plan for your family. And if not just for its investment potential, but what happens in 2 years if this market does crash, or if something potentially does happen in the market. Can you live in this home for longer than 2 years, longer than your original plan was, and make it suitable for you and for your family? And then for your renovation return on investment, you have to be realistic about how much value that the renovations can actually add to your home. A lot of people say that they want to fix it up before they sell it, and they want to do all of these renovations in order to increase cost. Well, honestly, there is a breakdown of how much and what renovations can add value to your home. So if that's a concern of yours, then make sure you check in before you start doing any work to the property, because there are some things that just don't add value. People think that they add value, and yet they don't, right? Moving on to number 9, relying too much on online listings. Now, this has been an age-old problem. Ever since Zillow came onto the scene and created this made-up word called Zestimate, everybody bases their decisions on what they can find online, and that is a huge concern and a big problem. So you don't want to do that. A lot of times they have outdated information. There are also off-market opportunities that you could miss out on if you rely solely on that information. And then of course there are neighborhood insights that you're not going to get from Zillow that you're going to get from me, because I'm a local expert and I live here. And so I'm going to be able to give you insight into some things that Zillow or Trulia or Realtor.com just can't. All right. Now, outdated information. Online listings may not always be updated as much as as we would like them to. Price reductions, changes in availability. I have had countless phone calls from clients asking me about homes that were sold a month ago or 6 weeks ago, and then they get frustrated. And I tell them, look, don't use third-party sites in order to look for your homes. Use the portal that I create. I have the power to give you a portal that plugs you into my Beaches multiple listing service and almost gives you as much power to search homes as I have as a Florida licensee. So take that, use that to your advantage, and be able to search homes on a higher level than you could using Zillow or one of those other sites. All right. Also, they're not going to have off-market opportunities. On a daily basis, I'm calling sellers who have, expired, or they've withdrawn, or they canceled their listing, to see if there's still any interest to buy a home, because I have buyers in my pipeline who might be looking for their product. And so off-market opportunities are another thing that you won't get from Zillow or Trulia, but you could definitely get from me. Okay, now neighborhood insights. I've been living back in Florida since 2018, and so I have many years, and then I grew up here, of course, down in Coral Springs, and I've lived all over South Florida. So I have a lot of insight to neighborhoods and areas, and I can tell you which ones are quote unquote safe, or where I would let my mom or my sister live, and I can tell you where the best schools are. So if those things are a factor, then you definitely want to, use me instead of using, Trulia, Zillow, or one of those other third-party sites in order to find your properties. I'm sorry, am I rocking back and forth? Is it making you dizzy? I'll try to stop. All right, moving on to number 8. Failing to consider flood zones and insurance costs. Now, flood zones are critical in South Florida. Palm Beach County has several areas that are prone to flooding. So buying a home in a flood zone can increase your homeowner's insurance premiums and also maintenance costs should a flood occur, right? Now, verifying insurance requirements and knowing exactly, what flood insurance looks like, how much it's going to cost before you buy, and calculating that into your bottom line is going to be crucial for you to be successful. And then long-term costs, considering how rising sea levels or new flood zone classifications might affect your property value in the future are definitely going to be a factor that you have to consider when you're looking at buying here in Palm Beach County. Checking out number 7. Now, number 7 gets us into the HOA factor, of course, once again, and you have to understand the HOA rules and the fees. Now, HOA fees can add up. Palm Beach County has many communities that are mandatory HOA communities, and they have mandatory HOA fees. And these can add up to significant costs, that increase your monthly budget. So knowing those before you even write an offer on a property is going to be key and ideal. You have to read the fine print when you receive the documents from the HOA, and you have to fully understand exactly what the HOA rules are, what you're allowed to do with your property, what kind of restrictions that you have, whether you have to fill out an ARC packet in order to renovate, if you're allowed to park your boat in the backyard or not, or if you want to rent it later on down the road and keep it, maybe an HOA doesn't allow that anymore. And that's going to be a huge factor for you if you want to keep this house as an investment property as you continue on to buy other properties, right? And then access to community benefits. You have to make sure that the amenities actually suit your lifestyle. Are you looking for something that covers everything? Are you looking for something that costs, the minimal amount of price that you can get an HOA for, but also has the minimal amount of amenities? Or you can look for a house that has a medium amount of HOA costs, which is $300 to $500, but that includes everything. You get cable and internet, and you have guard gated, and you have roving security, and you also have a pool, and you have a playground, and you have all kinds of other, sports facilities, and, different activities and pavilions and things. All kinds of things add into those factors. So knowing the HOA costs and fees and what they provide is going to be a huge factor for you when you're buying your next home. Moving on to number 6, skipping the home inspection. I can't tell you how many times in the past I have had a buyer say, you know what, no, my uncle is a contractor, we'll just have him take a look at it or whatever. Huge mistake. Don't ever do that. You want to get a licensed professional out there, and even though it costs, $800, $900 in order to get an inspection on a home, it's better to do that and know exactly what's going on with your property, so that way you don't have any surprises down the road. Now, there could be hidden issues. Your due diligence period in the contract is crucial. And then, of course, you have renegotiation power that a lot of people don't even consider, all right? Now, even in a hot market, skipping the inspection period could mean that you're missing out on costly repair needs, like structural issues or outdated systems. If you need a new electrical panel in order to get homeowners insurance for your house, well, that is a security issue. That is something that has to rely on safety. I always tell my sellers, plan to pay anything that has to do with safety or updates. Don't plan on paying anything that has to do with cosmetics, because cosmetics is easy to fix and it has to do with taste more than it has to do with safety. So, if you need a new electrical panel, that's $2,500 to $3,500. That's renegotiation power for us to go back to the sellers and be able to say, hey, look, this is a safety issue. And on top of that, my buyer's unable to even secure homeowners insurance because your panel is outdated. So you have to know that. The only way to know that is if you actually have a full inspection done by a professional inspection company, right? The due diligence period is so crucial. You have to hire a professional. Whether you use one of the 3 that I'm going to recommend to you, or whether you choose your own, it doesn't matter to me, so long as they are licensed and they are insured and they're able to provide an inspection report to you, including a wind mitigation and a 4-point within the same day. That way we're able to negotiate within the time frame of our contract, and we're able to get you accepted and moving on to your next contingency, right? Also, renegotiation power, like I said before, if we're able to go back and let the sellers know that there was a problem with the inspection and we need $3,500 in order to fix the problem and be able to close the deal, that is power that comes to our hand. And if you don't have a full inspection, that could be a problem that arises later and that you have to deal with because you didn't take care of it when you should have. Now, number 5, ignoring local market trends. Palm Beach County has nuances, right? Each neighborhood in Palm Beach County has different market trends, and from a buyer's market in condos or townhomes all the way down to competitive market with single family homes. Here in Palm Beach County right now, It is a buyer's market if you're looking for a condo or a townhouse, and it's still a seller's market if you're looking for a single family residence home. So, knowing those types of things and knowing what areas are more lopsided to the buyer side is going to be important. And the only way that you know that is to go through me. You have to research, you have to look at the data and the average days on market and know what price appreciation, and you have to understand when the right time to buy is. You have to look at days on market and other things, how many recent sales were in the community or the neighborhood that we're looking at, and those types of things are definitely going to be a factor for you. Now, consulting with me, your local expert, and working with me, I understand these trends, and I'm going to help you navigate this process, and I'm going to be able to help you understand the nuances of the local market so that way you can write an offer that is what's best for you, getting the best deal possible in today's current market conditions. All right, moving on to number 4. Now, a lot of times people just focus only on the list price, and that's a huge mistake because there are market shifts, there are bidding wars, and there are hidden costs. So the listing price doesn't have anything to do, it doesn't reflect the final sales price of the property, especially in a competitive market like Palm Beach County. And in today's market, you might need to bid a little bit higher than the listing price in order to secure the home in the right neighborhood or right area that you want to live in. And you also have to consider renovation costs. You might get it at the right price, but it's outdated, it hasn't been renovated, everything's original, all the bathrooms, the flooring, the kitchen, everything has to be redone. So you have to take those costs into consideration when you're going to be writing your offer. All right, moving up to number 3, not shopping around for mortgage rates is a huge problem. And, I always give 3 to 4 different mortgage lender partners as options for you. You don't have to use any of my vendors. I send my buyers to trusted mortgage lenders that I've worked with in the past and that have great rates. There is rate volatility. There is rate volatility. There are lender differences, and there are lock-in periods that you have to be concerned with. Now, mortgage rates are fluctuating in today's market. Buyers don't shop around, and they could end up with a higher interest rate. So you have to make sure that you're shopping and that you know. Lender differences. Each lender offers different terms, fees, and interest rates. So comparing options could save you thousands of dollars over the life of the loan. And then lock-in periods are a concern. You have to be aware of lock-in periods for interest rates. So when you initially get your approval letter from your lender, it's going to give you an approval for, let's say, 90 days. And it's going to show a rate actually on your approval letter, which let's say it's going to be 5.5. So over the course of looking for homes, let's say it's taken us 75 days to find you the right home, and now you're ready to write an offer and you go to lock in your rate. But now your rate's not 5.5, but it's 6.25 because the interest rates were fluctuating and you didn't really lock in that rate with your lender. So you need to know that if you're going to go with a lender, at what point can you lock in your rate and have that secured for the entire time of the approval period of your actual approval, your loan approval, of your actual loan approval, and knowing that. Number 2 mistake for every single buyer in this market right now is that they're overlooking the closing costs, right? Now, new cost structures, don't forget the other fees. You have to plan for the unexpected, right? Now, with changes in commission agreements, your costs could go up and they could look a lot differently than the last time you bought a house, especially if you're taking on more of the agent's commission. Closing costs include taxes, title fees, lender charges. They also include your insurance, generally for a year to a year and a half of the home, so they can have it on reserve in escrow. You have to make sure that you have a clear breakdown and understanding from your lender exactly how much cash you're going to need to close and what it's going to take to get to the closing table. Right? You also have to plan for the unexpected. So you have to up budget slightly higher to cover anything that might come up as a surprise cost or might pop up at closing that you didn't expect. Make sure that you know that. Also, when you look at your monthly payment, you have to know that your taxes are going to increase the following year once your property gets reassessed. If you buy a home this year, then what happens is that tax rate is going to follow you all the way through till March of the following year. You're going to apply for your homestead because it's going to be your primary residence and you're going to receive that discount. Then you're going to be reassessed and your new tax bill is going to be due the following November. So what happens is you're going to buy it, and let's say your tax rate is $5,000 a year. So that's awesome. You can take that all the way through till March, and then you're going to continue to pay that rate until the new assessment comes in. When the new assessment comes in, your taxes are going to go up. You're going to be reassessed, and the taxes are no longer going to be $5,000 a year. It's going to be about 1.3 to 1.5. If you're down in Broward County, it might even be 1.8 of the purchase price. So let's say you're buying a $1 million property and your tax rate is 1.8. So now your taxes are going to shift from $5,000 a year to $18,000 a year. So you have to take that into consideration when you're going to buy your home. Always plan out that your taxes are going to go up when the property gets reassessed. So let's move on. Number one mistake that people are still making right now in today's market is assuming that the traditional buyer representation costs haven't changed. Here is a huge issue, right? Post NAR settlement impact, budgeting accordingly for that, and also asking about the representation agreements. Here's how these things are coming into play. The recent NAR lawsuit changes how agent commissions work, and buyers now are responsible for the agent's commission, and here's how it's being negotiated. In the past, as a listing agent, I would go in, I would negotiate with the seller a set commission rate. Then I would share half of that rate with the buyer's agent. What the NAR settlement did is that it decoupled those types of scenarios because they said that we were in cahoots, we were colluding, it was collusion, and it was not in the best interest for all parties, which is a load of nonsense. But anyway, it's now the new law. So as a listing agent, I go in, I negotiate my commission plus any brokerage fee that I charge. Representing a buyer now, I negotiate my commission with you. And I'm going to go to the seller, I'm going to ask the seller to cover my commission, but we're going to have a buyer brokerage agreement in place that shows a 3% commission plus a $695 brokerage fee, and I'm going to negotiate all of that cost with the seller. But if the seller comes back and says, no, I'm not going to pay that, I'm only going to pay 1%, you could be liable for the extra 2% that aren't being paid by the seller. I want you to know and understand that is how it's going to work with other agents. With me, you will never pay more than 1% plus the $695 brokerage fee because that's what I'm charging my buyers. And if I'm able to charge more than that and get more than that from the seller, then that's just icing and the cherry on top. And you have to budget accordingly with these new laws. You have to factor in the cost of the buyer agent representation, and you have to calculate that into your home buying budget. And then also, you have to be clear what I'm going to do for you or what your agent is going to do in order to earn the commission. If the only way that I show value is by setting up a search for you on the multiple listing service and then helping you go and see homes, then I don't have any value whatsoever. Fortunately, when you choose me to represent you, I come with a whole team of people. I come with inspectors and lenders and plumbers and electricians and roofers and everything else, because after the sale, like I said earlier in the video, I want you to be a lifelong friend and a lifelong client, okay? So here we go. There we have it. Those are So here we go. And there you have it. That's it. Those are the top 13 mistakes to avoid when buying a home, especially in today's changing real estate market. I hope this helps you, and I hope this helps you avoid costly errors and mistakes, and it helps you make the most out of your So here we go. There we have it. And that's it. The top 13 mistakes to avoid when buying a home, especially in today's changing real estate market. I hope this video helped you, and I hope it helps you avoid any costly errors or making any mistakes in the next purchase of your home. So if you're thinking about buying here in Palm Beach County, or if you have any questions about the market, feel free to reach out to me. You can reach me at this number right here, 561-320-4433. It's my direct line, and I answer it every time. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, this is Vinny with Living in South Florida, and I look forward to helping you start living your Florida dream. And we'll see you again.